Okay, so, yeah, who is this? Who am I? My name is Julie Cantrell, and I am 49 years old, and I live in the South, if you can't tell from my accent. I wanted to start a little bit of a YouTube conversation or connection channel, for lack of a better word, because I'm recovering from anorexia, and I know that the whole YouTube format is saturated with anorexia recovery videos, and I don't want to dismiss any one of those. They're all well worth watching for people in different phases of their recovery and stuff. Reason why I wanted to add my own face and presence to the to the mix is partially just selfishly, just for me, but also because I feel like there isn't quite a representation for older people out there on the internet for people suffering from anorexia and who are in anorexia recovery. And so I am 49 and going on 50. And I was first diagnosed with anorexia when I was 9 years old. So that means really 40 full years of living with anorexia. Now, that's not to say that the whole time for 40 years I've been, at a dangerously low weight. But indeed, for that 40 years, I've been underweight, or maybe just a tad right at the edge of the lowest BMI. And that's because I've been in and out of treatment since age 9, just basically in, out, different types of treatment over the years because philosophies have changed and everything. And people have in the medical community and at large basically have looked at anorexia as sort of this conundrum. It's just this thing, this mental disorder that people, women especially, but women and men now that we've gotten a little bit more informed and done a little bit more research on this problem. But the people who have suffered from it, it used to be thought of as a sort of a psychosomatic disorder that basically starts with the psyche and then affects the body. And to an extent that's true, but it really has a lot to do with our biology. So the current kind of trend is now the migration theory, and that is that someone who goes into an energy deficit or into a weight or energy loss that is not healthy for them, or that is not where their body wants to be optimally. Something clicks in the brain. There's some genetics, something going on in the brain that makes a person start, becoming completely fearful that there's a famine. And it's irrational, yes, but for these people, it's very, very real. And then it gets all caught up in society and in culture, and it gets mixed up with other psychological thoughts, behaviors, and fears and stuff like that. So that's why it gets kind of all tangled up and snarled and difficult to pick apart. But I think I'm so glad that in the last few years some pioneers have kind of come out and said, hey, you know what? This is how I recovered from this dastardly disease that I had for over 10 years, and I was a real wreck, and I just pulled myself out of it because I was done. And I went through all this very, very scary stuff, and this is what worked for me. And there are 3 people in particular out there on the internet whom I really admire. That's Tabitha Farrar, Kayla Rose Katecki, and Elisa Orris. Elisa, if I'm mispronouncing your name, forgive me. But those women have done a lot of research past their recovery, because they just kind of took the bull by the horns because they were suffering enough. and then went through, just, you know, kind of defied all the predominant medical knowledge about, you know, binge eating and all that stuff, and they just ate to their hunger cues. And when I'm saying their hunger cues, I'm talking about mental hunger as well as physical hunger. They just ate what they craved. And while doing that, they dropped their fears of weight gain and stigma and all of that kind of stuff. And I found this on the internet when a couple of years ago, when I was kind of searching for help, adult with anorexia needing recovery, and I've done all of this other stuff. Is there anything else out there that's new? And I actually found found Tabitha Farrar, and I jumped right in with her. Now, I love this method of recovery, and I just want to say that, you know, I think you should read up on Tabitha, look at her website, check out her YouTube videos, and I also want to say the same with Kayla Rose Katecki and with Elisa Orris and all of the other people who are like-minded and who are jumping on this. I think before Tabitha and Kayla Rose kind of came along, there was the mini-mod method, and that's great for those who found that to be very, very useful. But I'm kind of running down the Tabitha path. It's a little bit different from mini-mod. It doesn't really talk about calories so much and stuff like that. It's just, you know, do not eat with any kind of restrictions. And that just, you know, when I heard that or read that, I was like, wow, that sings to me, because for 40 years, that's all I wanted to do is eat, and I mean eat ginormous amounts. I mean, even when I was a teenager in high school, I was taking French classes, and I had to write an essay in French on any subject I wanted to write on. And I wrote on the perfect day of eating, and it was all about like these giant meals that I would eat. Now I was saying this, speaking in French to my class about all this food I was going to eat. I look back on that and I realized, geez, I had mental hunger so badly even when I was, you know, a teenager. That's because I'd already started when I was 9 with dieting and stuff like that. So as for exercise, I'm no big athlete and no big exercise addict, but I have had a compulsive movement element to this whole thing. It's very, very hard for me to sit down. In fact, it's hard for me right now to sit down and film this video, but I'm doing it. I've just eaten a load of donuts, and I was like, you know, this spot looks pretty secluded. It looks like a good place for me to kind of get a camera out. A camera that's been sitting in the trunk of my car, by the way, for 5 years. So it's 5 years old. So this is, you know, I'm no cinematographer, which you can tell. But anyway, that aside, you know, I'm sitting and I'm doing this, and yeah, I've had a compulsive movement issue all along through the years. Yes, I have exercised and stuff like that, but I've never been a major over-exerciser, if anybody relates to that. But I have had this like standing, you know, kind of fidgety kind of personality. So that's something that is part of the migration theory. It's just this like kind of compulsion to move is part of the whole migration theory as well, and it fits perfectly with me, even though I'm not, you know, a 6-mile-a-day runner or was never a gym addict. In fact, I do hate gyms. I feel like a little bit of a trauma related to gyms, and it probably has to do with the fact that I had gym class when I was a youngster and suffering from anorexia, and it was really hard for me to exert any kind of energy when I was in the gym as a young person. So that's just an aside. I throw that out there just in case anyone wants to relate or can relate to that too. So no gyms for me, and I do like being outside, and even before I got anorexia, I was sort of an outdoorsy kind of kid, not a nature freak or anything like that, just like to go outside and climb trees. That was kind of a basic thing for me. And that does bring me to another topic, though, is that, you know, right now, where am I in my recovery? Well, I'm in quasi-recovery, and that's kind of this new term that's kind of thrown around out there, but it makes sense. It means that, you know, I've made some strides, you know, working with Tabitha and kind of getting, you know, trying to understand, you know, the philosophy and maybe overthinking the philosophy a little bit. But over the last year and a half, I've really kind of broken through and eaten some fear foods and gotten into some flat out sweets, eaten lots of cake and donuts and stuff like that. But I haven't ever really let go of restriction. I've had this disease for 40 years, and my mental hunger is huge. And I just want to say that I know that there are some sufferers out there who've only had the disease for 6 months, and they got ginormous mental hunger. But I want to just posit the idea that for those of us who are a little older and who've been dealing with this disease for so long with no real relief from it over the years, that our mental hunger is going to be pretty tough to beat. It's going to be like a big ass thing, excuse my language. We're going to really want to eat. And it may last a long time. It sure as hell, excuse my language again, sure as hell is lasting a long time for me. So, and I never was, it's so big for me that I'm really terrified to give into it completely and totally. So what's happened is over the last year and a half, I've gained 40 pounds. I've gone from, you know, relatively low BMI, and I'm up into the healthy BMI range now. But that isn't enough. It's not near enough. I can tell. I can just tell kind of by the way I'm feeling. You know, I am still kind of achy and tired, and I still want to eat everything, and mostly sweets. I've got a sweet tooth. That's where my little jam session is with food right now, is anything baked and sweet. You know, I'm really working now on just giving into that. So like I said, right before I came here, I had 3 or 4 big ass donuts, excuse my language again. But yeah, we have gourmet shops that are near here, and they make big cream-filled things, and that's what I go for. And so here I am, you know, feeling pretty good. You know, I'm like, yeah, I've got energy, and I'm just gonna sit out here and make this video. So yeah, as I continue to make videos, if anyone's interested, or if I can get this uploaded onto YouTube, which is a questionable thing at the moment, I would really like to mention, you know, that my body's going to change. It's going to get bigger. I'm hoping nobody's freaked out by that. Certainly know that I probably will have difficulty with it. But one of the things that actually Kayla Rose talks about is, you know, it's not a process of learning to love your body so much as just not making your body the issue. Sure, you're going to have like certain functions and systems that are going to come alive and awaken, and that's all wonderful and great, and all of that should be embraced, every bit of it, for men and for women. But there's going to be things that you don't like, and things that are going to be troublesome, and there goes a motorcycle, and that's part of life too. Somebody out on a Sunday having fun on their bike. So, but anyway, but there are going to be things about the body that you don't like either, and it just is there, and you can't kind of like flip a switch and say, oh no, I'm going to love it. Instead, a better idea is just don't make it a thing, you know. It's going to be there. Don't dwell on it. Move on. And if it starts to creep in, push it away, block it out, choose not to act on it. You know, just don't let it run the show. You know, don't let any bodily changes and weight gain and clothing size changes and shoe size changes and all that change the course or direct the course. Move on, keep going, carry on. As long as that mental hunger is there, you gotta keep satisfying it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So that's a major part of why I actually wanted to do a video for YouTubers as well, is also, you know, you can be an older person and still be, you know, you can be an older person and it's still the same thing as it is for the younger people, except even more crucial, because you're older and your body's had it. Body is really, really done with it. And so wherever it takes you on its journey of getting well, just enjoy the ride, enjoy the eating part, because most of us really want to eat. And we may not be that physically hungry. I have to mention this too. I'm not that physically hungry, and it's probably because my metabolism is dormant right now. Even after a year and a half of adding foods in and stuff, my metabolism does not trust me whatsoever. Like I said, it's been 4 decades of, and I'm sorry, you're going to get tired of me saying that over and over, but it has been a long, long time of no trust whatsoever of it being fed. So it's going to be dormant for a while, and it's going to be kind of, you know, wake me up when it's real kind of reaction. And I've just got to live through that. And so having said that, I don't have a lot of physical hunger, so I get full really easily, but I just push through. You know, Tabitha says, you know, if you can find room in there, push through and eat it, you know. And for the most part, I'm not feeling sick, you know. I'm not feeling that sick, and that probably means that I should be eating more. Because that's where my mental hunger is just to eat to capacity, and then wait an hour and then eat again. And the last part I want to add to this is we're all different, very varied. Even with the commonality of the traits of the disorder, we're all different people in different phases or walks of life, different parts of the world, with different cultures and stuff. But we all share this need just to get out of this and eat, and not let culture and not let ourselves, you know, be judges to tell us where our body is going to be going and where it is optimally. That's going to be up to our body to tell us. It's a tough one to take down, but you got to take it down. You got to be able to basically be like, okay, that's all I'm worried about is what my body's saying, and my body's saying right now, hungry. I'm a hungry chick, or I'm a hungry guy. Another thing is that if you're like me at all, anorexia has completely eclipsed your life, stunted your growth. I don't have a job. I did work for a little while as a paralegal because I did manage to make it through college, but it took me a few years because I kept having anorexic issues through my college years. I went to great schools, really top-notch schools, and yet here I am without even a job. And I'm not feeling sorry for myself in that. It's just, it is what it is. It shows you just how severe this disease can affect you, and it can stunt your life. Now, that doesn't mean that my life is done for the rest of the duration, but it does mean that I'm going to have a little bit of searching to do, because my piloting is a little off, and so I'm going to have to kind of grow some and go through some adolescent weirdness and all that that I kind of skipped over because I was too busy thinking about food and diets and all that kind of stuff during those years. Another thing too is that a lot of times on YouTube videos, people say, you know, find your true identity and just be you instead of your body. And I want to just address that. If anyone's having trouble with that concept, I can totally relate. I got my disease when I was 9, so I have really kind of not really a good idea of who the hell I am. Excuse my language. I kind of know who that 9-year-old was, and I remember like the kid part that was pre-eating disorder. I remember some of that, and so I have a little bit of an identity crisis going on right now, but that said, it doesn't mean that you should give up, or that you're going to just, you know, be lost in the wilderness. It's just you just got to keep eating, and somewhere along the way something will click. I'm sure of it, because we all have inner selves. So just want to throw that out there too, because I do struggle with the whole, you know, be your true self kind of encouragement. It's well meant, and it makes sense, but for me, it's kind of like, you mean my 9-year-old self? That's all I remember. And so yeah, it made me be 9 years old, but and you may be thinking, geez, she's acting like she's 9, so yeah, that's some arrested development right there. So anyway, and just to show you how old I am, you know, I'm trying to refer to some notes, and if any of y'all relate to like the old school pen and paper, what's this with printers and computers and stuff? Yeah, and my 5-year-old camera that's been in the trunk for 5 years. Nice. Yeah, that's me. Okay, so until next time, eat a lot. Eat whatever your body is telling you to eat, at least, and more, because it may not be telling you enough. If it's getting full but you're still thinking about food, if you pass a donut shop or a Chick-fil-A, or maybe not a Chick-fil-A since some people don't like that, maybe a Cane's, or I don't know, whatever, you know, and you're thinking, oh, stop. So anyway, talking about stopping, I think I'll stop it here. And everybody have a great day, and I'll put some links maybe below, and we'll chat again soon. Oh, I will ask this before I do stop, is one thing I do know about myself is I do love music. So what I thought I would do in every video is I like coming up with categories of songs, and just I embrace all kinds of music. So share what you love: country music, K-pop music, top 40 music, golden oldies, classic rock, classical even, you know, you name it, whatever you like. But I'm going to throw a category out there, and I want you to see what you can come up with, what songs, your favorite songs that in that category. So first category I'm going to throw out there is, what are the best songs that you can think of that have to do with winning or losing? Let's do our winning or losing, or winning and losing, whatever the case may be. We're in this to win this, but if you have a favorite losing song, that's fine too. But I thought, just what's your favorite winning or your favorite losing song? I'll add mine next time. Okay.